Could never tell if you could hear that okay. Sometimes I play it back and you can't really hear it. Did you guys hear that all right? All right. Hi, welcome. I'm eventually going to get like some sort of cool intro that I'll play. And then I'll never be late to a show because the intro will just play continuously until I decide to take it live. It'll be a loophole. Hi, someone text Souza. Hi. Hey, Banana Dance Man. What's up, guys? How we doing? CrossFit Port Clinton. How you doing? Ramblers here. Edging. Wow. Present temporarily to see which way the wind is blowing. Awesome. Well, thanks for your temporary attention. Appreciate that. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a couple of topics we're going to be covering today. I think somebody already saw the little Easter egg in the, there it is, Rambler. Nothing gets by you, Rambler. Nothing gets by you. I see Hiller's tiger painting in the thumbnail. Yeah, because I'm taking quite a few of the questions from the recent show that he did, and I'm going to utilize them here and answer them on my own. I'll record a loop of my voice whispering the Sexy Suzy show and the loop over that saxophone. Okay, cool. French Throwdown Live qualifier workout has just started. If you want to be distracted at all, no, you don't. You want to listen to this show. You could go back and watch people exercise at any point in time. Actually, technically, you could do this with this show too. But you know what? We're here. You're already here. Just hang on, all right, Joe? The camera's sharp. Thank you. Yeah, I think I got the lighting just about right this time. Sometimes a little too bright, sometimes a little too dark. But hey, we got it figured out. So here's what we got going. We're going to talk about the ranch. You guys saw it. It was live. Give you a little breakdown of that experience. We're going to talk about the affiliate gathering. That portion of the show, I probably should have buried it further back, but we're going to give you the good stuff right away. So the affiliate gathering, what happened at the affiliate gathering? I will tell you this. It was awkward, to say the least. So we'll get into that. Then we're going to go into the questions around the conversation that Hiller had with Brian Friend, the food pyramid question, the sport. And then I got a few more on here as well. Should religion be a part of your gym? How dangerous is high rocks to CrossFit? How important are movement standards? Have you ever called a CrossFit gym a box? And are you ever shocked at how much or little athletes know about training? So we'll dive into some of those topics, and we'll have a good old time with it. Let's see, got some comments here. I didn't do too much in the comment section because I figured with these with like the eight talking points that we have in the show, that was already enough. There wasn't a ton of comments in terms of feedback or questions in the last show. There was actually a lot of comments, so I appreciate that. If you guys are watching in retrospect, please leave a comment on the show. It helps my ego. That's pretty much it. You'd be amazed at what people do to this show. I could only imagine Milky Hammer. The good old days when coaches like Glenn Penlay, Sean Waxman, and Travis Mash. Oh, Travis Mash. I haven't heard that name in a while. Would publicly glorify CrossFit and say how it saved Olympic weightlifting sport, and has helped many people. Now, power athlete, thumbs down. Isn't that funny? Slightly off topic, but isn't it funny how the original Olympic weightlifting coaches, like the ones that have been in the game for forever, that have ran training halls and stuff, saw a huge increase in participation with Olympic weightlifting, with meets, with enthusiasm around it, with just the accessibility of bumper plates, for heaven's sakes, right? You couldn't even get those anywhere prior to CrossFit. And snatch and clean and jerk, like nobody even knew what that was. Like snatch was just basically a bad word. And when CrossFit came along, it popularized all of that. And those coaches really gave a ton of credit. Like, sure, they had some criticisms about it. That's fine. But at the same time, they really gave credit where credit's due. Now you see all these, especially these weightlifting coaches, but even CrossFit Games athletes, as soon as they're too washed up to compete, now it's like, oh, CrossFit, it ruined my body. Oh, this, that. Now I have this other program that's basically CrossFit, but it's more lower intensity and zone 2 work. It's like you built your whole entire brand off of the platform of CrossFit and being a CrossFit Games athlete. And the second you decide to retire from the CrossFit Games because you can no longer go from that pool of people because you're not relevant, all of a sudden you just shit all over CrossFit. Like that's not good. Susan is the GOAT, man. Appreciate that. Isn't that funny? Gonna have to give Jenny a tutorial on how to update, or I should say edit captions on the reel. Jenny, when it comes up, you press the captions on your reel, and then you could press them, and then you could delete them, and then you could edit the actual name, and then you could hit done, and then it saves it with the correct word. So you could edit the captions. Although at this point now it's just kind of a funny running joke, so we might as well leave it. But yeah, it's just interesting, some of these games athletes and newer coaches, how rather than kind of glorify or be thankful of CrossFit giving them the platform in which their whole entire brand and identity exists from, they tend to just turn their back on it and vilify it and say that, oh, well, because it ruined me, now I have this new program. And it's like, did it ruin you, or did you just completely overdo it trying to be one of the best in the world? Maybe you didn't even eat that great too during that process. And maybe that's why your hormones were out of whack. Maybe that's why your body was a little overstressed, because you were competing to be one of the best in the world, and having ridiculous amounts of volume will take a toll on your body. Duh. Man. Anyhow, so we're going to get into the ranch. If you guys saw, Hiller also made a video on that, makes a video on everything. Damn it. It's hard to keep up with. He made a video saying that they should not have gone live. He gave me a lot of credit for doing the video, taking the stream live and giving it the capability that it did. So I appreciate that. But yeah, the live portion of it was something that did kind of come together last minute. I'm thankful that I did get to play a part of it, because I knew that they were going to go live, and I figured having the drone out there, if they were going to do something on the hills of the ranch, which you could always assume they're going to, because why would you go there and not, right? Would help kind of the viewership in terms of being able to see it, as well as being able to run and test the pep link at the ranch to see what the internet quality was like. You've heard us talk about outside of the game season, Dave wanted to do kind of like these head-to-head competitions with some of the athletes, so he was also testing a lot of that. Now, if we had more of a game plan, more of a schedule, if I knew what the workouts were, if frankly we had other people there just to help, it was just myself and Matt Bishel. So I was obviously manning the camera, as you guys saw, and I, chased him up the hill. And then Matt Bishel was running the drone. So then therefore, who was doing the camera switching and taking care of all that? Well, nobody was. It was just like the two of us trying to run back and forth and get it figured out. The other thing too, in retrospect, is we could have had a little bit better quality on the actual athletes, which I think would have been cool. It was nice having Bill and Chase there. And it was also really cool just to be able to hear the banter back and forth between the boys in Erupted. Like, it was hilarious just being able to hang out with them. They are truly a fun group to be around, because they are like four brothers, meaning they're super nice to each other, but like it's always on the verge of a fist fight potentially breaking out. And as you guys could see in my thumbnail there was a story, I know they already talked about it on the podcast, where Dave gave them all leather belts, custom TDC leather belts. And as they pose for a picture, Jason reaches around and just smacks James in the ass with his belt. And it made a loud sound. Like it was a pretty good hit. And James damn near turned and looked like he was going to punch him. It was crazy. Also, too, with how friendly and nice James is, you would not expect him to turn the switch that quickly. It would seem like all of a sudden he would just kill you. Like, he went from like this like lovable guy to like, whoa, I didn't realize how big and scary that dude was in the drop of a hat there. So it was pretty fun being around them and getting to experience that, and then watching them workout and stuff. We did have good, for the most part, I thought we had good internet. There's obviously a lot of upgrades that I would be able to do. Like I said, if I knew the workouts ahead of time, we could have multiple mobile cameras. If we had one or two more operators there, I could switch the cameras going back and forth, building some picture in picture, kind of like you guys saw over at Crash. So I'm excited to see. I mean, we're just starting on the game season, so we probably won't be doing anything of that caliber at the ranch until after the CrossFit Games. But it'd be really cool to see that take place. Maybe have some athletes come out there, do some head-to-head events, 3 or 4 events like they did at the ranch, and bring a little bit better of a live stream quality in terms of disciplining and the preparation. I, for one, like some of the raw, like live stuff. Like, in my opinion, the post-production is good, but I will say, like, everything is moving towards live. Like, you look at some of the most biggest stars on the internet now are all live streamers because people want to see something that's like real and that's engaging with them. Now, needless to say, I have no doubt that the post-production stuff, when we do see it come out, is going to look great. It's going to look fabulous. They caught a lot of the boys going back and forth with each other. I think there's going to be just a lot of hilarious stuff. Like, even if you've seen some of the content that they created, where Dallin and Justin do the tryouts and James and Jason come and do a tryout, that reel they did with Dave and stuff, like, it's really cool to see them lean into the media and kind of put their own flavor on it and do their own thing and have fun with it. It's so needed in our space, and having been around them, I'm just really thankful that we have guys like them in the space that are willing to contribute as much as they do and lean into it. Now, Dallas was there. That's Justin's camera guy, Justin's media dude. He was there the whole time with them. And I imagine that most likely, and I don't know this for a fact, but I imagine that's on Justin's dime. Like, having Dallas come out and do that, like, he's got to make his money somewhere, and they probably split ad rev or something. But at the same time, like, that's Justin making an investment into media. Now, sure, it is helping Justin's brand without a doubt, but he could do a lot of things that would help his brand that wouldn't also lean in and help CrossFit as much as he is. So it's pretty cool to see them do that. And obviously be a part of it for a couple of days, or not a couple of days, the day with them was awesome. So yeah, I think that the head-to-head stuff at the ranch will be really cool. The live streaming thing will definitely work on it. Point taken there, Hiller. But I do think that that once we get that squared away, we'll see some awesome stuff come out. And shout out to Jenna, Matt Bishel, Dave for letting me jump in and be a part of it. I found out that Thursday before. On Friday, I was like, hey, I don't have too much time, but I will drive from Livermore out to Aromas. We'll do a quick little test run and kind of get it set up. And then I got to drive right back to Livermore to be here at the gym to coach and do everything else. So Matt Bishop was able to meet me there. We did that test on that Friday. I have a partnership with the local run club here. On Saturday morning, I went out and warmed them up. So there's like 30 or 40 runners getting ready for the Livermore half marathon. So we cruised out to where their meeting spot was. I warmed them up. I literally jumped right in the car after that, drove from that location straight out to Aromas to try to beat the guys there, to get everything set up and get everything going prior to the start of the first event, which wasn't even really sure what time that was at. We had a loose schedule. And then at that point on the way out, I knew that it was going to be the hill run. So I was like, okay, at least we know that. We'll get the drone up and get everything set up. So it was kind of a whirlwind to get out there and get everything done, but it was well worth it. It was well worth my time. I really like to be able to contribute to the space in that manner. Like, that's what I could bring to the table. And so if I get an opportunity to help out, I do so. So that's kind of how the whole entire live thing came together. There was no master plan. It just, within the last, couple of days before they went out there, we just went and got it done. So now we'll get into some of the juicy stuff here. The affiliate gathering. Just to kind of love on the boys some more. They were out there. We had probably, I would say, like 200 maybe or so people out there that were part of the workout, because that was just open to the community here on the West Coast. And that workout was led by Katie Hogan, who's the West Coast affiliate rep, was a longtime seminar staff member. Don't think she teaches seminars anymore, but she had for years, along with Kelly, who was out there. Bosman was out there. Then, of course, we had the guys out there kind of leading the warm-up, having a good time with the people. Dave was there, Dawn was there. And if you guys watch the week in review, when they had everybody there, they first gathered everybody around, and Dawn spoke first. And I really was hoping that there was going to be this big, like, thank you for being here. Thank you for being an awesome part of this community, especially to my affiliate owners, to my coaches. The work you guys are doing is incredible. Like, it's so important. You're changing lives. Your work is not going unnoticed. It is appreciative. We are going to make this year the best year ever for CrossFit. We are going to push the brand forward. It's going to be bigger and better than it ever was before, and kind of give this big, like, hurrah speech, like, before we went out. And instead, it was kind of just like, I don't know. It was just kind of what you would expect. It was like just kind of a little bit of a word salad, and there was no really, like, fire. It wasn't really, like, commanding the room. I didn't really get this, like, overwhelming sense of optimism from that little chat there. Then James actually came up and chatted, which was kind of funny. He got on the microphone there and he did great. I thought his talk, the little, hurrah thing he gave, was awesome, and talked about the open, stuff like that. So then they did the workout. I think Dave talked about the week reviews, like 5 push-ups, 10 burpees, 15 air squats, and then you ran back and forth and tagged in the other teammate. They went through that for about a 15-minute AMRAP. So a lot of people had a good time with it, and yeah, it was hilarious too, because a few people realized that the glass was up from the Sharks game, so they were running. It would, like, jump into the into the glass, and it was a good time. It was really cool to see the community together like that. What's the name here? Chatta. I think Hiller's point, why was it disorganized and haphazard? Why was it so disorganized and haphazard? That's a great question. I don't know if the media side was. The live stream maybe was, just because I jumped in last minute and offered to help out a little bit more. So maybe it was my fault. I don't know. I kind of felt like, so to be completely honest with you guys, when I was watching Hiller's video, I felt a little guilty, because I was like, did I push them to go live? Like, I don't have that much say. Obviously, if I did, we'd be doing a lot of different things. But I almost felt guilty, because I was like, maybe they wouldn't have leaned into the live as much if I didn't jump in and try to do it. So maybe it's my fault that it was haphazard and disorganized. I'll take the blame for it. You win some, you lose some, huh? Banana Dance Man, Souza fails again. It's like my report card through school. Souza fails to understand private equity again. Don is their errand boy. I don't fail to understand private equity. I know exactly what private equity's function is. I just think that they could do a better job at it that would actually serve the function of private equity better. What's the purpose? I buy this thing, I make it better, and then I sell it for more money. What are we missing? The make it better part. I do not think that Marnie, who is the managing partner over there at Berkshire, she is the woman in charge, the decision maker, if you will. I don't think she wants to say, hey, let's burn this thing into the ground. I don't think so. That's going to be a black eye on their portfolio, black eye on her portfolio that she's managing. She doesn't want that. They don't want that. They would rather be able to pump a bunch of value into it, make it better, and then sell it for more money. So I perfectly understand the function of private equity. I just think that as they place people in charge, they pull back. What's the job of the CEO? The job of the CEO is to keep the board happy. When is the board happy? Is when their metrics are moving in the direction of making more money. So I would argue right now that errand boy, maybe not even for long. And we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. Frank, there has been zero direction from HQ. So why would you expect that? I didn't expect it. I said it would be nice. Or maybe if I did say I expected, it was the wrong word choice there. Also too, like, by now you don't think that they would at least fake it till you make it. I don't know. Oh my God, is that Two Brain Business keynote speaker Matthew Souza? I don't know. Keynote might not be the right word there, Peter, but I appreciate that. And I will be talking at the Two Brain Business Summit on June 6th and 7th. And we'll talk a little bit about that soon here. Don's approach since the 30 million CrossFitters is always say nothing. You have to be held to it. Yeah. So getting into um getting into Souza pull the pan check. If you know, you know. I don't even know if I know. I don't even know if I know. Frank, they have no clue how to make it better. Yeah, unfortunately not. Um, so after we did the workout portion of it there, it was a lot of fun, high fives. Then it distilled down to just the affiliate owners. So Dave took us on a quick little tour of the SAP Center. Not even a tour. He actually just took us back to where the affiliate lounge will be. It is super nice. So if any of you affiliate owners are thinking about going to the CrossFit Games this year out in San Jose, I definitely think this venue is worth it. It sounded like they were going to put Vendor Village in the north parking lot, which north parking lot means nothing to the majority of you guys. But at the big parking lot at the top, where the main entrance to the SAP Center is, will be all of Vendor Village, or the majority of it, which I am super excited about because I love that feel where you kind of like come in. It reminds me of how Carson was back in the day with that huge kind of vendor village sprawling out in front. Hopefully they have it designed where you don't have to go through multiple security checkpoints. You just go one to get in, and then you're able to just get in and go to Vendor Village. There's also a street out on the opposite side, the south entrance, if you will, that they said is going to be blocked off. So it'll still have that festival feel of what Albany did, which in my opinion was one of the better parts of Albany because they had the street blocked off right before you came in. So it gave it this little bit of a festival vibe. I think there'll be more of that at SAP Center. PC, is there a campground? Yes, there is a campground. It's actually anywhere you decide to put your tent because it's California. Get it? Where's the button? Hold on. It's a joke. No, there is no campground, but there's plenty of places to stay nearby, and downtown San Jose is really cool. So after we got to take a peek inside the affiliate lounge, we went over to a area where they had chairs set out. That's the picture that you guys see from the thumbnail there. And then this is where it got weird. This is the part you guys will want to pay attention to. So Dave was up there with Bosman and with Heather Lawrence. For those of you guys that don't know, Heather Lawrence pretty much runs like all operations and is Dave's right-hand man, if you will, with the CrossFit Games. And so the three of them that were up there, the first probably, I don't know, 15, 20-ish minutes or so was all discussion and questions around the CrossFit Games. Some stuff with volunteering, some stuff with the layout. That was what I was able to give you guys the information now. Some stuff around like ticket sales, just different things like that people were curious about. And then, so they're in the front, they're in 3 chairs with microphones. And then in these seats, like all the way to the right, their stage left was Dawn was hanging out there as well. And they were kind of sitting through, and at one point they transitioned. Dave's like, okay, we're going to transition here and we're going to go from CrossFit Games talk to Dawn Fall is here. And if you guys have any CrossFit questions. And this is where, and maybe it was just me reading into it too much. I tend to do that. But Dawn kind of like moved to the edge of his seat and like sat there for a minute, and none of the 3 of them moved at first. Like they just like sat there. And I was like, oh gosh, this is awkward. Like no one's going to like give up and like switch out the seat with Dawn. And then the first question that came through was, for lack of better words, like how do we get more like Black people into CrossFit, which I thought was an interesting question. So then Dawn kind of stands up out of his chair, and I can't tell you what he said because it was just like kind of this fumbling around the words a little bit. I'm sure the answer maybe made sense or something. I don't know. And also too, the question was weird. Like I'm not going to get into that on this show, but we're not going to get into that show. I got lots of thoughts on that one, but we'll leave that where it is. So Don kind of fumbled around, and then he did this weird, like he was standing and addressing the group, and then he kind of looked over at the 3 of them in the chair, and then basically just like sat back down into the audience seat, but like kind of at the edge of his seat, kind of turned towards the crowd, but like not fully with his back turned towards Dave and Dave and Heather and Boz Rambler looking for the HR lady to save him. So then the next question that comes through. There might have been one in between that I don't remember. But then the next question that comes through is, so where are we with the sale of CrossFit? Now I was like waiting to see who was going to ask that, right? So then at that point, like Boz kind of laughs, like everybody in the crowd kind of does this, like, oh, Don then stands up and Bosman goes, all right, here you go, and hands on the mic and kind of moves over to the side. So then now Don is able to actually get up and sit into a chair and address the room. That probably didn't take that long from that first question to the time Don had a microphone in a chair. But in my mind, that seemed like an eternity because it was just such an awkward, I think somebody put in the comments, maybe Ramley did, like power struggle. It was like such a weird dynamic that was happening there. And I was wondering if this was like signaling something or why that played out the way it did. And maybe it could be something as simple as, okay, I'm going to use an analogy here. Have you guys ever been to a wedding where whoever's officiating the wedding or the DJ of the wedding doesn't announce like the please rise, like please stand and please sit? And if you guys have ever been there, you get this weird, like the music plays and half the group does this half stand and they're kind of looking back and like the bride's coming down the aisle and like everybody's like, do we stand now? Do we not? Are we waiting for a cue? And then a couple people just take charge and kind of stand. And then the whole rest of the group like stands up because like, okay, we could stand. Then the bride comes down and now they're at the front and the officiator or the DJ doesn't say like, please be seated. So everybody's kind of awkwardly standing there like, until like a couple people sit down because nobody's giving them direction. That is what it felt like. It was just kind of like, Don's like, do I stand? Do I not? He announced me to come up. Nobody's moving. Do I get a microphone? How are we doing this? Which to me is very strange, coming from the CEO of the company. Like, shouldn't you, like, what? Like, aren't you the dude in charge? And that's why I put my thumbnail here, like, who's in charge here? Because it just, like, it threw me for a loop. Like, I was like, man, this does not seem like you're commanding the room. And it definitely does not feel like you are in charge at this moment. So anyhow, I hope that kind of paints the picture of what was, what the feeling of it was like in the room here. So then somebody asked a question of like, where are we with the sale? Okay. This was a fantastic opportunity for Don to create some certainty around the future, right? Like you were sitting in a room of affiliate owners. Obviously the athletes were still there. Some coaches are there. And like, basically they're asking like, hey, what's going on with the sale? AKA like, can we find some sort of like certainty, right? And even if he doesn't fully know, what he should have sold. Right now, we are focused on strengthening the brand. We are focused on putting more media. We are focused on making this CrossFit Games season the best we're going to have, whatever the case may be, right? We are focused on giving more value to our affiliates. We're focused on selling seminars, whatever he wanted to say. He could have just said that to kind of skirt the question and then lead with some sort of like optimism as to where we're going and not really worry about the sale. Okay. Should have been done. What ended up happening was it turned into a lesson on, well, yep, we're still for sale. Because as you guys know, private equity functions where they buy and acquire businesses, they create more value in that business, and then they hope to sell it within a 5 to 7 year window. We are in that window now. And to me, like, it was such a huge missed opportunity because all it did was create more uncertainty. And it was a very interesting dynamic because when Dave was answering questions about the games, when Dave was talking about CrossFit in general a little bit with his portion, you could feel the optimism. You could feel him kind of command the room a little bit. Like there was like punch to his voice. Like there was no weakness there. And the second Don had answered that question that way, like you felt that kind of leave the room. Like it definitely, he wasn't commanding the room. There wasn't a lot of like certainty. There wasn't a lot of like optimism. It was very like, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're just kind of like, dude, what in the world? So that question gets answered with a non-answer, but basically said like, yeah, we're still for sale. Now, the stuff that I've been talking about on the show is that sure, they might still be for sale, but there's no prospective buyer, and they basically have to restructure their executive team and get refocused, because even if another prospective buyer came in right now, it would look very messy from the outside. And we've already seen this happen with the other people that were putting bids in for CrossFit. So they need to really strengthen the internal team there. They really need to get all their executives in line, and they really need to start pushing forward to strengthen the brand. However they see fit that they're going to do that, we don't know, because there's currently not really a staple down vision for that. So now the next question that came in, somebody was like, so last time I heard you talk was at in Pleasanton at the big affiliate gathering maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And they were like, so you mentioned that there's going to be 30 million new CrossFitters. So where are we at? And I was like, holy shit, like you could almost like hear a pen drop at that point. And I was like, dude is getting grilled. And basically the long and the short of it, after a bunch of other words, was that goal is too aggressive, that it's a fraction of that goal that they're after. And then this was the worst part. And then essentially admitted the fact that like they couldn't actually track how many people were doing CrossFit. They were like, yeah, there's lots of people that are doing it in their garage. And like, frankly, we don't know and we can't track those metrics, which was just insane to me, because then it's like, why in the world did you say 30 million to begin with then? Like, what do you, like, where'd that come from? You just basically pulled that out of your butt. And like, I've been talking about this for a while now, that metric was just completely unrealistic right from the jump. And it was kind of silly. Like, you could definitely have some big, audacious goal. Like, I like that. But at the same time, like, what's the system behind that? Like, how are we actually going to achieve that? Like, tell us the tangible steps that you're going to take, not just like this pie in the sky number. And we're going to get there on a hope and a prayer and just wish. So it was, yeah, it was pretty interesting to kind of see that go down. The other questions that came in was asking about where they are with seminar sales. Kind of like a non-answer from that, but it was interesting there, because then Dave kind of jumped in. He talked about the level 3, the level 4 stuff with education. There's nothing really new to report on that outside of what he already gives on the week in review show. But there was one very interesting moment outside of all the awkwardness, which was somebody asked about the revival of the CrossFit Journal. Now, this is something that gets brought up all the time. And Dom basically said like, hey, it's tough to do now, because back then, like PDFs that I could go and download off of a website was essentially cutting edge. And now technology has moved very quickly and far away from that. And, how would we revive it that would give it like the same kind of, technology advancement to where it needs to be now to make it relevant. And it's crazy that he would say that, because I'm like, you create a freaking AI, you throw all of the journal into it, so it only learns off of that, and then you make it a search bar on CrossFit HQ, so I could go in there and it says CrossFit education. I could type anything I want about exercise science, and boom, it would take the aggregate of all of the journal and a bunch of other stuff that I could connect it to, and it would give you the education on it from an AI bot that you trained and are continuing to train. Like, I don't know much about technology, but I know that you could do that. And it's just surprising that that we've seen no advancements to that. But the interesting thing that came from it was essentially Dave jumps in and he goes, yeah, when Glassman was at the helm, we controlled the narrative. He goes, media is king. And he goes, when you have media and you have the voice and you can control the narrative, he goes, that is the most important thing. And we did that really well back then, and we haven't done that very good now. And I was just kind of like really surprised that he would say that. And it was crazy to me, because the look on Don's face was just kind of like, oh, and it was just like, man, like it was really interesting. It was really interesting. So obviously I'm reading into this a lot. I'm reading between the lines, and of course that's what makes it fun, right? And so that's kind of the takeaway of the affiliate gathering. There has definitely been, at least in that room, a shift in the power dynamics. And if I were to have to make some sort of prediction with 2026, from what the feeling was in there and what I saw, it would definitely seem that Don is on his way out, and Dave might be moving into that seat. Now, I don't, I have nothing to base it off of other than the perception that I had of being in that room, watching that dynamic and watching the two of them interact. And then I would have to say the worst part of it all was unprompted. Don went into the apology tour again and talked about how it's been a really hard year and, it's been a hard year since 2024. And it's like, dude, stop. Stop with the empathetic leadership. Like that is not the state where we at. Like we want optimism, we want certainty, we want a vision, we want a strong leader that even if not all the questions could be answered right then, you were at least were like honest about it, gave short words, and we're basically like, hey, we're still charging in this direction. Like that's what is needed right now. Not this like empathetic, like, oh, we're listening. It's been a tough year. Everybody struggled. Like, no, no, what? Get off it. We don't give a shit about that. Give me something that makes me want to charge up the hill, not go run and hide. It's ridiculous. Banana Dance Man, didn't Greg fire the media team after the Reebok lawsuit? So the Reebok lawsuit had to do with the royalties from the commodities sold. It had nothing to do with the media portion of it. The media team being fired off of the game stuff was, in my opinion, a mistake in the way that it was handled. I understand the theory of what Greg was trying to do, and I actually agree with it. I just don't agree with the approach that it was taken. Same with pulling all the handles off of Facebook and Instagram and all that. I think that was kind of the beginning of the end in terms of media presence and brand strength, if you will, because it never got a chance to recover from that, or Greg's vision fully got to be flushed out. And then we had 2020, and then the company was sold, and it's continued to go downhill from then. What's your seat, Souza? I wish I had more of a authority in the CrossFit space. I actually stood in the back of the room at the affiliate gathering, if that's what you're asking. Han Solo. So Dave let Don out of his gun safe. Yeah. No, the settlement of the lawsuit included a huge cut to the Reebok payment. Maybe you don't know. I'll message you. Yeah, message me about that. Maybe there is some information that I don't know, but I thought that it had to do more or less with the money being earned off the commodities and the royalty checks that they should have been receiving from. Or did you say projection? Is that like projection and damn Souza at once? Yeah, sure. I mean, I got trouble with words. Whatever. Dan. How about that? Is Poolboy sitting on Souza's router? Oh, is it bad? That sucks. Bad internet pisses me off. I guess if that's your way of saying my internet's bad, you passive aggressive douche. No, I'm just kidding, Hans. Love you. Okay, so the food pyramid portion. These are getting into the questions I Hillary asked Brian. Yes, CrossFit should have leaned 100% in. It should have been on top of that topic the whole entire time. It should be on top of everything with Make America Healthy Again. And here is the deal. They talked a little bit about politics that had to do with it and saying, oh, very choppy. That sucks. That sucks. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why it is like that. I turned everything else off. You're a little robot, but nothing horrible. Such a bummer. Totally kills my vibe when that happens. And I think testing it now, but it looks like, I don't know why it does that when it shows that there's like a lot of strength behind it on my end. Yeah, it says I have like 14 upload speed, which is Atari level graphics. Great. Oh well. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We paid the bills, I think. So yeah, the Make America Healthy, again, CrossFit should be on top of all of that. And they talked a little bit about the politics of it and how, well, if we do this, is it getting into politics? No, it is not. And this is what I try to explain. And when I was having a conversation with somebody about this earlier, we as CrossFitters could easily talk about the corruption in exercise science, the money coming in for corporations, the money that's coming in from big insurance companies, and how that is tainting medical information, that is also tainting incentives, and how that corruption is flowing into the health and fitness industry. And for our portion of it, like, we could be the one that pushes back against that. The problem with politics is that it gets to my team versus your team, the left versus right, and then nothing gets accomplished there. And so once you start to moving into that section of it, then you get the gridlock. Then you get the my team versus your team. Then you get that BS. But if we talk about the truth versus the corruption that we see coming out of the White House and out of Capitol Hill, and how we could be the defenders of the truth in the health and science and exercise realm, then that is where our lane needs to stand. It doesn't need to be a left versus right issue. And that's where most people get conflated between what CrossFit should be involved in and what they should not be involved in. I don't think they should be weighing in on conflicts in other countries. I don't think they should be weighing in on news reports that are coming out about what has happened in current events or what's happening out in Minnesota or anything like that. No, they stay completely away from that. But when it comes to the Make America Healthy Again, when it comes to information coming out in the exercise science realm, in the food realm, like, that is our lane. And you could easily have strong opinions about that without making it too political. Next question here. Let me find where's my thing, man? The sport. So, why do you think CrossFit? Oh, no, that was the first one. Why don't you think CrossFit has made a bigger deal out of the food pyramid? Simply because I just think they're struggling all around with media and organization and everything else. And yeah, they definitely should be involved in it. The second question here, how important is CrossFit the sport to CrossFit the world? Now, this portion here, I like to do this. And if you guys own affiliates, you should definitely run this same exact test on your own website. So I threw into AI and I said, hey, look at my website, crossfitmore.com. And I said, within 5 seconds, tell me what does it stand for? What problem are we solving? And are we able to solve the problem that we're talking about? And so this is like a quick, like, at a glance at my website. If you're somebody new to the gym or new to the space and you look at it, you got a 5-second attention span, just at a glance, like, can we solve your problem? Right? What is the problem? What are we solving? What do we do as a function? So I ran that test with CrossFit.com, not the game site, but CrossFit.com. And this is what it pulled back. What is it? A global competitive sport. The first thing you see is the 2026 open registration. Now, if we were talking about the game site, be perfectly fine, but we're not. We're talking about CrossFit.com. What does it stand for? Competition, intensity, and elite performance. Okay. How does it help them? It gives them a way to test their fitness and rank on a leaderboard. And the last one, the problem it solves, a need for validation and competition. That to me is crazy. And when we go to the original question here of how important is the CrossFit the sport to the CrossFit the world, that kills it right there. You should have a clear separation. The games channel is for the competition stuff. CrossFit.com is for CrossFit the philosophy, the training methodology. It should not, those two should not conflate. So when I look at CrossFit.com now, that website is completely lost. And then just some notes I put about it here. The brand is bleeding. So if put this, like, if you look at the homepage, and you're essentially at like the digital storefront of CrossFit, or coming in to find out what is CrossFit, or I heard about it and I actually go to CrossFit.com, all as it's doing is it's catering to the 1% who are already addicted, and it's alienating the 99% who are trying to figure out what's going on. The major issue here is you have to scroll through or click to find what is CrossFit. And the headline should read, in my opinion, that it should tell them that it's the cure for the chronic disease. Instead, it says we're selling the games, not independence at 80. And it looks like it's like a sporting league. And so a lot of people were giving the WFP like a bunch of crap about, well, why would I affiliate with this sporting league? Like, why would I affiliate with the sport of fitness? Like, what does that do for me? Well, that's the same exact messaging that we're portraying from CrossFit.com right now. It's not showing longevity. It's not showing health. When I go to that website, I should know exactly what CrossFit the philosophy is, and I should know exactly that it's going to help me cure my chronic diseases, and I should know exactly that it's about longevity, not about elite competition on CrossFit.com. That is for the games. And so that's a huge problem. Also, too, you have the intimidation factor on there. Like, you guys as affiliate owners know that if we're trying to get people to get into the open, to be a part of the community, to participate, that some of the people that are newer to CrossFit, they're a little intimidated by it. Okay, well, now I'm going to CrossFit.com to find out about CrossFit before I go into my local affiliate. Remember, they wanted it to be a lead generator back in the day. So now I go there, and what do I see? Competition right off the jump. Right off the jump. And so that, to me, that whole website needs a complete revamp. It needs a whole entire new set of messaging. It needs to be focused on longevity. It needs to be focused around health, and it needs to showcase that in its messaging. And it should be right on the front, telling me exactly what CrossFit is and exactly how it's going to improve my quality of life, period. And it should be accessible to anybody who's coming in and reading that, not intimidating, because that page is also, you have 2 pages that are now focused on the sport of CrossFit. It's crazy to me. So I think right now that the sport is harming it more than it's helping it. That should be in the tagline here, is in this last little piece here. So we are currently a sporting company that happens to have gyms. We need to be a health company that happens to have a sport. So that's it. Like, that is the main change that needs to happen immediately. Because otherwise you're going to churn through the same 2 million enthusiasts that come into the CrossFit space and are already here. And then they need to be able to know exactly what they're going to do when they start CrossFit, where to find it, and everything. It needs to be on CrossFit.com. Like, save all the competition and sports stuff for the games. Save it all for the games. The graphics look good. The camera looks bad. I don't think it's a bandwidth issue. If you could see it on my end, the camera looks great. When we started, it looked sharp. So it sucks. I'm trying to push through it, guys, because this is making me sad. The internet issue is legit. It's making me fucking sad. I'm not lying either. It sucks. Okay, we're just going to keep moving. So movement standards is the next question here. So how important are movement standards? Extremely important. They're extremely important. So when I have the firefighters, which I just started my academy here, we come in and we talk about range of motion in their squat. I talk about range of motion in the overhead press. I never refer to the range of motion as a competition standard. Like, oh, it's a no rep if you don't. The thing is that when you are talking to somebody who is in your affiliate outside of the CrossFit Open, you need to explain to them that full range of motion is there to keep them in full range of motion. Meaning, if I could squat all the way down and I have sound hip function, I'm not going to have low back problems. If I could reach all the way up over my head and lock out my arms and get my arm to cover my ear with the bar over my head, I'm not going to have upper back and neck problems. My shoulders will have full range of motion, therefore full function, therefore full health without pain. That is the movement standard, in my opinion, when I talk to people in my gym and when I talk to those firefighters. When I talk about the burpee standard, it's because I want them to be able to always be able to go all the way to the floor and then stand all the way up. When they come up to the top of the box, I want them to be able to open up their hip and stand nice and tall so they could show control on it and show that they have that range of motion. That, to me, is the conversation around movement standards. So I think Hiller asked Brian if it's like a 1 or a 10, how important I'm. They're a freaking 10. That's what we do as coaches, and we need to be relentless about it. And do not say because the rep doesn't count. Do not compare it to competition, because everybody that's in front of you that's in your gym that are just coming in to sweat for an hour, they're immediately turned off by that answer. And frankly, it's a shit answer. It tells me you don't really know how to convey the message and the importance of sound hip function, sound shoulder function, as well as getting the bar all the way to the ground in a deadlift and being able to stand all the way up with it in your hip or to your hip. Like, that is the conversation around movement standards. That's why those movement standards were developed in the first place. CrossFit was around a long time before there became a sport of fitness. Remember that. And those movement standards existed before then too. And don't compare it for your time and your pounds for, like, nobody cares about the math behind it either. Just go into the fact that they will have and retain full functionality of their hips, back, and shoulders. This is why the movement standard exists. That's it. Shut up with the sport thing. If you're a coach and an affiliate owner and I hear that shit, I'm going to come over there. I'm going to smack you in the face. Just kidding. I'm not going to harm anybody, but I just want to drive that point home because I hear it all the time. Like, oh, that rep didn't count. What do you mean the rep didn't count? Coach them to get better. Don't tell them the rep didn't count. Leave that shit for the games athletes and Hiller's channel. When you have a person in front of you at your gym, figure out why they can't go all the way down. Understand why there's a restriction in the mobility there, and then give them the tools to fix it. Don't give me this bullshit about the rep didn't count. Get me all fired up, pissed off because of my internet. I'm fired up because of movement standards. All right, moving along here. Religion. Should religion be a part of your gym? Yes and no. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Is that your vibe? Cool. That's your vibe. If it's not, it's not. It shouldn't matter. And that's the brilliance of the licensing model, that each gym could be a little bit different. I could have a gym next door to me that is very religious in whatever that they do, Scientology. And there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to be super turned on to that and be like, I'm going to go to the CrossFit gym because they preach Scientology. Like, great. And we do squats. Then they'll come to my gym because we don't talk about it at all. Okay. So like, should religion be a part of your gym? That is up to you to decide. And that's the beauty of the licensing model. That's it. Period. So should it be? No. Yes. Up to the individual. Easy to answer that one. By the way, if it was a franchise, the decision would have to be made on that, just like Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out versus Burger King and McDonald's. Chick-fil-A, they're very, like, it's very religious, and like they have it on their cups. They're closed on Sunday. It's like all of this stuff. And it's franchised that way. So if you're not part of that, then you won't own a Chick-fil-A. So that's kind of the difference between the licensing model and a franchise around the conversation with religion there. Next question. Have you ever called the CrossFit gym a box? Personally, I have not. I don't call it a box. I don't know why. It just never really appealed to me that much. I don't know. Don't call it a box. I don't call it a box. It sounded weird a little bit. Kind of contrived, almost forced in some cases. So no, I just call it a CrossFit gym. I call my gym a gym. That's it. That's it. And the last piece here. Are you ever shocked at how much or little athletes know about training? Some of them are very intelligent with their training. Some of them are very intelligent with their training. Others of them have no idea. Like, and to be honest, it doesn't matter because they're just there to try to compete in terms of the athletes. Now, the question could be like, am I shocked at how bad some of them are as coaches? Like, yeah, but they're not necessarily like working to be a coach. They're working to be the fittest on earth. And that's two completely different things. And in fact, like if you're working to be the fittest on earth, you probably need to be really selfish with everything that you do to achieve that goal. As opposed to a coach, it's the opposite. You have to be really selfless because you have to pour everything into the people in front of you that you're coaching, regardless of what's happening in your life. So yeah, there's a pretty big discrepancy between being the fittest on earth and being one of the best coaches. So no, it doesn't surprise me. What does surprise me to that is like if you ever or watch like a professional like basketball player or a professional baseball player or something like that, and you watch them move and they move like shit, that surprises me. Like I'm always like, how'd you make it this far and you're a professional at the top of your sport? You can't even properly air squat. Like, holy smokes. So that surprises me quite a bit. The CrossFit Games athletes, not that much. Now, I do think if we're going to be utilizing them as the marketing strategy, CrossFit needs to pick the right ones that are good at communicating what CrossFit philosophy is, what the training methodology is, and what their role in that is. Because that's up to them to decide which athletes they highlight. And like I said in the show last week, where I had the priority of CrossFit should be the affiliates, the training, then the sport at the top, then that pyramid flips where the top of the funnel to capture the most attention is your athletes, then your training, which eventually makes them to affiliate owners. So I do understand that there is an importance for the athletes. There is an importance for the CrossFit Games, but it's not on CrossFit.com. It's on the game site. It's on YouTube. It's not on CrossFit.com because once they see those athletes and they're like, wow, I want to do that. What is that? And they go to CrossFit.com, we should then be talking about the training philosophy. We should be talking about health and fitness. We should be giving them the tools to be healthier and to have a better quality of life. And that should be easily displayed on CrossFit.com. And in fact, I talked about this at Affiliate Con in October when I said that CrossFit.com, if I were in charge, would look like Google. It would just be a space bar. And at the top, it would just say CrossFit. And you would type in a couple of things, either gym near me, and it'd pop up the map, or a question about health, fitness, and exercise. And you would type it in there, and it would take the aggregate of all the CrossFit Journal. It would take the aggregate of studies and everything else that we could feed into it to make sure it's giving out good information around health, and it'll start to spit out answers to you. That's how I would change CrossFit.com. And then right after that, it would have a whole list of where all our latest certifications are happening. Sign up here to go to a course. Want to learn more about this? Sign up here to go to a course. It should not be representing the Open right now. I get it. The Open's important. I'm signed up for it. We're promoting it here. We're going to do the Friday Night Lights. I'm not knocking the Open at all, so do not conflate that, but that needs to belong on CrossFitGames.com, not on main site. All right, gang. Sorry the internet was crappy. Bums me out. Somebody said the picture was back and it was clear, so that's good. Who coined the term box? That's a great question. I don't know. It's a great question. Do you know? Was it rhetorical? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Did you see Senator Josh Holloway push-up challenge? HQ should do something about that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Should be involved in on top of all of it. All of it. The fact that they aren't is a really big missed opportunity at this point in time, because like right now people are really focused on health and fitness in the way that we are, with the transition of the food pyramid, with the discussion about bringing training back to schools, making PE tests, like all this stuff. Like we should be at the forefront of that conversation. Like we should be the experts in that. I preach it all the time that the affiliate owners and the coaches should be the local health and fitness experts in their area. Strive to be that in your local area, and CrossFit should be striving to do that globally. Should be number one mission on it, but they're not going to do it by having sign up for the Open on CrossFit.com. That ain't going to work. We got through it. Was 8 topics too many? I think 8 topics might have been too many. I enjoyed the questions that Hiller had, though, so I wanted to go over those. Oh, my whole thing went away. There we go. All right, guys. So I'll be back. I'll be back next Thursday. I was also thinking about doing the specific coaching or affiliate owner shows on Sunday evenings, with last week and dedicating my whole Saturday to being out there. Like typically all the stuff that I do through Saturday kind of bled into Sunday, so I didn't get an opportunity to do the show. But I was thinking about doing the show on like Sunday evenings, and just doing the specific affiliate owner and coaching shows, where we just go deep into like topics around that. Last time we talked about the kind of like soft skills, if you will, of coaching a class, like the experience, what a member should experience while coaching a class. That one seemed to get a lot of positive feedback on it. So we go deep into some of that stuff next time on that show. If you guys want it, let me know in the comments. On I think next week, I'll put the date in the show notes here, but I'm going to be doing a webinar on the school platform where I'll talk about the health offer that we've constructed, partnered with the CrossFit Medical Society, and we've been using here at CrossFit Livermore, as well as the different memberships that I put in behind that. So it's kind of like this tiered offering. I really think as an affiliate owner, you have to innovate or you will die. You will get left behind. The core group classes are always going to be exactly that, the core of what we do, but you have to have ways to innovate, to bring new people in, and to also offer something more than other gyms are offering. And I think the data around people's health is exactly that, and the expertise in the coaching is the other side of that coin. So I'll be talking about that in the webinar, and I'm essentially just sharing what I'm doing at CrossFit Livermore, and like giving all the stuff that I've done here and the results that we've got from it in a short amount of time. I also just started running ads on Meta about the healthcare offer that we're offering. So it'll be interesting to see how those turn out, but I'll kind of keep you guys up to speed. And all that stuff is in the school platform, which you guys can get in the show notes below. And then lastly here, Chris Cooper from Two Brain Business did a longer show around the 20 lessons or 22 lessons he's learned over the 20 years. I think it's like an hour and 23 minutes. If you are a coach, if you are an affiliate owner, it was well worth the time to listen to that show. I got tons of great stuff out of that. And so I suggest that you guys go check that out. All right. Thanks for bearing with my internet today, guys. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Keep coaching out there. Keep doing all the great stuff that you guys do. Most importantly, be good to each other. Because as I say, that's pretty much all we got. I'll see you next time.